So we're going to start with the John George case. Now, I've got a picture of John, I think, to put up in the corner. Oh, now a lot of you will remember this case. This is John George. John George, his 30s, late 30s, father of two, came to Spain. So this is really a even though John is from Belfast in Northern Ireland, he came to Spain for a few days. He never went home. Well, not alive anyway. And it was a very tragic case because he sort of disappeared completely. He was supposed to go home. He had booked a flight, or had he booked a flight, or had somebody else booked it pretending to be him? A flight was booked, let's say, and John wasn't on that flight. When it arrived in Belfast, he didn't get on the flight. It then ensued for his poor family who came over to Spain from Northern Ireland to search for him. And it seems that I think they had been told, more or less, that John was dead, that what they were looking for was a body. Now, John, he was no angel, and his family have said as much as that. John went wrong in his early years, as so many teenagers do. He got involved in drugs. There's a big the drug culture here in Spain is massive. But it's from foreigners, Irish people, British people, Scottish people. I think if all the Brits moved out of Spain, the crime rate would probably disappear, or it wouldn't disappear, of course, but it would halve, definitely. And particularly in the coastal areas, because that's where there's a high concentration of expats. It seems like every 5 minutes I'm seeing a post from the Guardia Civil saying, oh, they've just dismantled a drugs cartel or a cartel and this. And I think, how many are there? It's constant, bloody hell. And they're always arresting criminals that are on the run from Britain or whatever. They always come to Spain, don't they? That's why it's called the Costa del Crime. British people complain about immigrants going to Britain, but in Spain it's the other way around. It's the British people who are criminals. They come to Spain to escape, but of course it's harder to do that now. Years ago they would have done it. I know people that have done it, and what they do is they'll rent a place right out in the middle of nowhere. They get a few massive dogs. And they live like this weird, or they live in caves up in the mountains or whatever, because they're on the run from the police and from Interpol or whatever. And of course, it used to be a lot easier to do that. It's not so easy now, because now we've got technological data. Their phones can be tracked. There's so much more. It's so much harder to do it now. So I think that's why it seems like every 5 minutes on Facebook, the Guardia Civil posting that they've caught another drug baron, or they've broke up another drug gang, or, it just seems constant. And I think they are having more success because of technological reasons. Anyway, so that was John. So his family came over. They spent Christmas, and this wasn't last Christmas, it was the Christmas before. John, I think he disappeared in around the November time, was it? Or December time, November. And the family all came over along with some friends and things. And they were searching for him. But they were searching in the wrong place. Because the alleged killers, of course, the alleged killers of John George, who are Johnny Smith and Michael Malley. Johnny Smith is also from Northern Ireland. Michael Malley was a Czechoslovakian, yet Czech national. They were the two people that were alleged to have killed him, because what very sadly happened is after the family had been searching for John for 2 months in the wrong place completely, even brought a search team out from Northern Ireland. They were looking in completely wrong place because he wasn't there where they'd been told he was. He wasn't there. And, you know, you can't just search without an idea of where to search. Anyway, John's body was found in a lemon grove, like out in the campo, like out in the countryside, in Rocales, which is near Casada. If you know the areas, not far from Oruela Costa, which was the last place that John was seen alive. The last time he was seen alive, you know, apart from by his killer, of course, he was a phone call, wasn't it, to his dad. He'd phoned his dad and he was slurring his words. He was showing off a new watch. There were people there with him. Anyway, sometime very shortly after that, John was brutally murdered. He was stabbed in the leg, he was shot in the chest, he was shot in the face, he was stripped, humiliated. Now, whether that happened at the actual lemon grove, we don't know, or whether it happened before and he was taken to the lemon grove. There were drag marks, there was blood, so it looked like he'd been dragged along. Anyway, so that's what happened to John. So his family were phoned by the police with that very sad news. It was very, you know, it's very difficult for the family. Well, it's difficult, obviously, for anyone whose son is murdered, no matter if he was a bit of a wrong un from, you know, getting into trouble when he was young. He wasn't a murderer. And, you know, everyone spoke very highly of him, to be honest. I mean, you know, his family, he's like a bit of the black sheep, maybe, of the family. I don't know how they would describe him. I think his dad, Billy, described him as he was a melter, but he was my melter. So he loved him, you know, even though John could drive him crazy sometimes. He was always on the phone to him. He loved him. You know, absolutely adored him, and all his family did. So they were in this terrible position of being in a foreign country where they didn't speak the language, trying to deal with getting their son's body organised to get home, and who had done this terrible thing to him. So the two people that were accused of killing him, Michael Malley and Johnny Smith. Now, Michael Malley, the Czechoslovakian guy, let's see if I need to get a picture of him up, don't I? He had gone to the police voluntarily. He gave himself up voluntarily. Hi, Heather. Hi, Heather. Nice to see you on here. So, Michael Malley, the Czechoslovakian national, also a father. He's got a little girl, I think. And he was released on bail because he volunteered himself, and it is thought that it was Michael Malley who told the police where John George's body was. So that at least meant that the family could get John back. You know, they took him back home, back to Belfast. They gave him a funeral. And I know it's cold comfort. We always say this, don't we? It's very cold comfort, but it is some comfort. You know, rather than thinking he's lay out in the Spanish countryside somewhere and they're never going to be able to reclaim him. So this is Michael Malley when he was taken into court in Torrevieja. I think people, if you know Spain at all and you know the Oruela Costa, it's a beautiful place. I was there not long ago because it's not that far from where I am. And I was struck. I hadn't been there for quite a while. And I was thinking, it is an absolutely beautiful place. You can see why people love it for holidays. But you don't know what's going on. There's a big undercurrent of crime in that area. Maybe there is everywhere, I don't know, but really, especially, families are out there having great holidays with their kids and that, and they don't know what's happening all around them. It's a shame, but I suppose most holiday areas, especially coastal areas, attract that sort of thing. So Michael went to the police, handed himself in, and he was bailed pending the murder trial. But the other guy, Johnny Smith, and this is Johnny Smith here with the glasses on with John George, he went on the run. And he actually went off to Gibraltar, first of all, with his girlfriend. Oh, look, my things are coming up on there on the Google. He went to... Oh, this is Billy George, John George's daddy. He touched all our hearts, didn't he? Because with his pleas, please give me my son back, give me my son back. It was very sad. Anyway, so yeah, Johnny Smith went on the run with she was his girlfriend then, Madison Allen. And the first place they went off to was Gibraltar, where they promptly got married. And that's where they got married. Then off they went to Portugal. They were eventually arrested. He was arrested. Madison wasn't arrested in Portugal, and he was brought back to Spain, and he's in Alicante prison. Now, he was bailed out over Christmas. That €100,000. He put up the bail. He was released just before Christmas. In the meantime, so my God, I have to remember everything that's happened in this case. So there's still no date for the murder trial. It might even be next year. Yeah, justice doesn't move quickly in Spain. It's a shame, but it really doesn't. So it's a shame for the family just having to wait and wait and wait. But anyway, will anyone be left to be tried by the time this case goes to trial? Because in the meantime, Michael Malley was murdered himself up at Punta Prima near Torrevieja. Again, a place I've taken my dogs to 1,000,000 times for a walk. It's a beautiful promenade there. He was found brutally shot. I could have found him. Could have been I haven't been there for ages. It's quite a distance from me. But sometimes I do like to go there because it's beautiful. It's a lovely beach. It's a lovely walkway that you can walk along, and people are doing their running there or yoga or, until my dogs come along and bark at them, and then that disturbs them. But yeah, so it's a beautiful place, and that's where he was found. Just bleeding to death. Well, he was already dead. I think he'd been shot. So he's dead. So now we've got John George died. Michael Malley was murdered, and the person that's been arrested for his murder, I think he's from Manchester and thought to be a hitman, but I don't know. I haven't heard any details about that for a while. Then the other thing that happened is that Madison Allen, who is Johnny Smith's now wife, now she was only 19 when all this started. She's probably 21 now. She's still a very young girl. She was an OnlyFans model. Let's have a look at a picture of her. Very pretty girl. But, I do feel for Madison. The only reason I feel for her because she hasn't been very nice to the George family at all. But she's so young, I feel like Madison Allen, she's in a situation. How's she ever going to get out of it now? She's so far in it. Even if she wanted to get out of it, which I hear that I hear that her and Johnny have split up. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's John. There she is. That's Johnny Smith there, her husband, and as I say, she was an OnlyFans model, very, very explicit photos, videos, etc. Very pretty girl, but I don't, she's obviously, I think she's got a massive drug problem, to be honest, as well. So I don't know how that's going to go for her future. But anyway, it's her life to live. She's got to make the decisions. So in the meantime, she was then arrested for carrying weapons and drugs, massive amounts of drugs, not just a little spliff, to have a smoke at the weekend or whatever. Massive amounts of drugs, ketamine, marijuana, and she's on bail. She was on bail for that, 45,000 euros. She then had an accident and through all this, she's been on social media, really throwing it in the faces of the George family. She should have, I don't know, but you know what young girls are like, they won't be told anything. She's there all over social media, really almost baiting the George family. So that's I just don't understand why she's done that. But anyway, and then when Johnny was released from prison, they were on the social media, etc. He got into a fight. Then she got into a fatal accident where she ploughed into a car with some tourists in it, and one of them died. So there's another death. So then you've got John George, of course, himself, Michael Malley, the poor guy that Madison Allen ran into. Then one of the other people involved in the case, or before actually, this was earlier on, Dan isn't his name. He had his throat slit while he was having a wee out. He was up at Orwell Costa in a bar or whatever, and he went out to go to the loo or whatever. I don't know why he went out. And he had his throat stabbed and he nearly died. He just survived by the skin of his teeth. And he was in Torrevieja Hospital for a while, literally touch and go for him. Anyway, he's back in Ireland now, and I think he's cooperating with the police, he's cooperating with the George family. They issued a statement saying to leave Dan McMeekin alone. He has helped us, he is, helping us out. So, gosh, so now the latest. I mean, it's just like there's always something happening, and you just feel, I mean, I'd like to I wouldn't like to say, but I want to say this is going to end badly. But of course, it started badly. It started with the murder of John George. Since then, there's been Michael Malley was murdered. The poor tourist guy was killed in the fatal accident. Madison's still walking around a free woman. Dan McMeekin nearly died. That's what's happened so far, just in a year and a half or a couple of years. And now the latest thing that's happened, and as I say, I just feel like this is going to end even more badly. Maybe that's the way to say it. It's already bad. Couldn't be worse, really, could it? Well, you think it couldn't be worse, and then it gets worse. And the latest thing is that Madison has been attacked and had her face slashed. So here's Madison, as you can see. She is very attractive. Of course, there's a lot of filters on that photo. But if you look at the photos at the side, look, someone's tried to do a Joker on her. She's been slashed across the face. And of course, her face is her fortune and her body, I suppose. That's what Madison does. She sells her face, she sells her body. That's her career, and well, good for her. I'm not against what she wants to be an OnlyFans model. She's old enough, to do it. She's not a minor, and if she wants to do it, and if she's found a way she can make money, and apparently very good money, well, good. So someone's attacked her. when she was on her way home to her apartment, and they slashed her across her face. Well, that'll be deliberate, won't it? Because, as I say, her face is her fortune, isn't it? She's very lucky because not that far from her throat either, is it? There's just this feeling in this case that there is more horrible things that are going to happen. So in the meantime, Johnny Smith is back in prison. So his bail was revoked because was it weapons charges, or it was something he did wrong? He didn't abide by the conditions of his bail. The judge said he was taking the piss out of the Spanish judicial system. I mean, I was surprised he ever got bail in the first place, to be honest, after he'd done a runner the first time. But he had to surrender his passport, etc., and he had to report to the police station, on a regular basis. Anyway, he blotted his copybook. He got sent back to prison. And lately, there's been rumours. Now, again, there are rumours that Madison and Johnny have split up now. That she put some cryptic social. She's still all over the social media when she feels like it. If I was Madison, I think I'd be trying to keep my head down, not be all over social media, flaunting a new relationship in this dangerous environment that she's, that she's living in. She's living in a very dangerous environment. It's like, is she addicted to the thrill of it all, or I don't know. She just seems so young, and to be involved in all this, and it's all so very violent, isn't it? So anyway, this is what's happened to her. I think if I was Madison, I'd rather be in prison, because let's say with Michael Malley, I said that about him. Michael Malley was let out on bail, and look what happened to him. He got murdered. Madison is always the subject of attacks. So maybe she'd be better off in prison. I don't think I'd be going out the house if I were her, that's for sure. So yeah, it can only, to me, I think it's only going to get worse. It just, I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest. Right, I can see that David had a bit of trouble with your foot and you've been in a bit of pain. Oh, sorry to hear that, David. Yeah, it was just me and Heather on Friday. It's because I did it on a Friday rather than a Thursday. You like this necklace? Heather? Yeah. Oh, which it's held a message for review here. I think it's that one you've just put, Heather. I think, is it the word foxy? Oh. Honestly, I just do not understand YouTube. I think they blocked that message. It said, this message is held for review. Or is it David's message? I'll never understand YouTube. That's another technological thing I don't understand. Nobody's said anything that anyone should be worried about. And yeah, no, I know what it means, Heather. Don't worry. I'm just wondering if that's why. Why did YouTube hold that message? Did they not like the word foxy? I don't know. I quite like the word. I like to be described as foxy. Listen, I've been called a lot worse things. But yeah, YouTube, honestly, if you saw some of the messages I dig out of hidden messages, you would think, what? Because I go into every now and again, sometimes I forget to look, but every now and again I go into hidden messages, and there'll be messages in there, and I think, oh, people will think I've ignored their comment or whatever, but they're not. They're not. I mean, so occasionally there are ones in there that I think, oh, I'm glad they put that in hidden messages. But it's so rare, so rare. Most people are respectful, to me and other people, but you do get the odd twonk, obviously, in there. But yeah, never understand YouTube. I just will never, ever understand how they work it out. Now, when they try and show your message, it says another moderator just handled this. Well, I haven't got another moderator, so I don't know what that's about either. Oh, I'll have to bring, what's it back? Nightbot. I'll have to bring Nightbot back, I think. Yeah, they do. They pull comments for the most stupid things, and then other people put things, and you think, why didn't you pull that comment? Strange. YouTube is strange. I suppose because it's AI, isn't it? So they can't look at context. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they can't look at context. That just a word comes up and that's it. They don't like that word. I don't know. But no, listen, you put whatever you want, Heather, because I can always, if it does hide it or whatever, I can show it. It's just when I notice, Anyway, so that's what I wanted to tell you about the John George case. This is where we are, and this trial, their poor family, they're waiting, and it's probably be next year before the trial. Now, don't forget, as well, Michael Malley, the other suspect. So there were two suspects, Johnny Smith and Michael Malley. Michael Malley is dead. So 100% Johnny Smith is going to be blaming it all on Michael Malley. And it may be that it was Michael Malley and not Johnny Smith. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know all the facts because the Spanish police is so secretive. So we've not even got any, we don't know what evidence the Guardia have got or haven't got, or if there's CCTV, or if we just don't know what the case is going to be based on. So, yeah, that's where we are. But this very sad, and it is sad, whatever. To me, Madison, I don't understand what she's done. It's wrong what she's done. She's taunted the family, and I know a lot of people are saying she's had karma, but still, to me, it just seems shame that a young girl like this has got embroiled in this whole situation. And there's a lot of things she could have done with her life that were different, and now how is she going to get out of it? And now she's got scars on her face. Now, they don't look too deep. I'm hoping that they won't be deep. But could have been so much worse, couldn't it? Could have been life-threatening if they would have aimed a bit lower for the throat. So this girl, Madison, she's going to have to be looking over her shoulder every minute, isn't it? Every minute. And she's quite distinctive. People know where she lives. She said she won't go back. Well, she can't go back to Northern Ireland because she'd probably be, subject to attack there as well. I think if I was Madison, I'd go somewhere completely different, but she probably can't because of her bail conditions. So she's sort of trapped. Yeah. So it's sad all round. It's sad for John George's family. It's sad for Michael Malley's daughter. He was a father. He's got a daughter. It's sad for everybody. This whole case is just awful, isn't it? Awful, awful, awful. There is nothing, no positivity. The only positive thing is that John was found, taken home, buried with dignity, and not just left, in the lemon grove, etc. But his sons have still lost their father. His mum has lost a son. His dad has lost a son. His sister and brother have lost a brother. It's just horrible, the whole case. So Anyway, if I hear any more, I will let you know. But that's all really I wanted to tell you about that. And I hope, I wouldn't wish any bad on Madison or anybody. I hope somehow Madison, I don't know what she can do, but maybe she will be able to turn her life around. I don't know. I don't know if she'll even be allowed to, even if she wanted to. That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. I just don't know how she's going to do it though, David, because of her bail condition, she's probably got to report to the court in Torrevieja, on a regular basis. So she can't go too far, can she? But and you know what? That network, the drugs network, I think you'd be really struggling in Spain to hide because they're all connected. They all know everything that's going on in their world. I think she'd be struggling to find somewhere to be safe, but it's a shame, isn't it?